Hi, my name is Robin Wong. I'm a professional photographer based in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. I want to talk about a recent shoot that I did with my Olympus OMD system in an extremely low light condition using very high ISO numbers. Will the camera survive? Let's do this! Before we start, I want to give a shout out to a friend, Bichu. She's the one who asked me to come along to shoot behind the scene images of her live recording in studio for her new song, Alive. The song is now released. You can check the music video. I'll put the link up here. Please do follow Bichu in her social media. I'll put the links in the description and the pinned comment below. Any support goes a long way. Bichu is a dear friend. She's an extremely talented local singer-songwriter. I do enjoy her songs and have shot her multiple times before. Another important note is that this job was done in December 2020, before the second lockdown began in Malaysia. After the lockdown began, the non-essential business like photography and music, they are all prohibited. Now, this particular job was extremely challenging because I was dealing with extreme low light condition in a music recording studio. I couldn't bring in my own lighting setup because my job was to record behind the scenes images. I was not supposed to impose, intrude, or disturb anything. The main priority is to get the recording done. There was another videographer around to shoot behind the scenes video, and because of that, I couldn't be using my flash setup as well. I had to deal with whatever available light that is there for me, and the only way to do so is to push the ISO numbers beyond 6400. My gear setup was quite simplistic. I had my own Olympus EM1 Mark II as my main camera. I brought along the EM1 and EM5 Mark III as backups, which were in the bag all the time. I didn't touch them. The main lenses that I used were 75 f1.8 and 45 f1.8. When I want to get close, I was using the 25 f1.2. Wide angle wouldn't work very well in that environment because the studio was honestly quite messy. There were a lot of things happening in the background, a lot of things that I didn't want to include in my images. So the 75 f1.8 and 45 f1.8 provided me with enough perspective compression to not include that much mess in the background. An important advantage of a mirrorless camera versus DSLR is the ability to use a completely silent shutter. At the beginning of the recording session, I was told not to shoot anything because the loud shutter sound from the camera would disturb the recording session and will be recorded by the oversensitive microphone. I was told that Bichu and her band members will act for me after the actual recording so that I can get some images which will be behind the scenes. I believe that's not the right way to document an actual music recording, because then whatever that I have shot would have been just acts by the musicians. Now then I told them, no, you don't understand. My camera is actually silent. It is totally silent. They don't believe me. So I have to show them now. See, this is taking photographs. It's taking photographs now. And they try to wait and wait to listen to the shutter clacking sound. And it never happened. I told them, and I showed them, see, I've already taken 10 photographs without you hearing the shutter sound. Then they were like, ah, wow, you can do that. Now, I don't blame them because they are not photographers. They're not aware that silent shutter in mirrorless cameras are already available for many, many years. And I do think that silent shutter has become something very important, and I've used them in several environments, and I think it does make a difference in professional photography. During the music recording session of Bichu and her band members, my main focus was to capture the moments. It is the moments that will make or break the shots. Now, of course, I was well aware of the high ISO and the technicalities of the camera, trying not to capture too much noise and not to go too high of ISO if it's not necessary. I wouldn't want to go to ISO 12,800 or 25,600 unnecessarily. I try to maintain at ISO 6400 as much as I can, or even go down to ISO 3200 for non-moving subjects, relying on the 5-axis image stabilization. But generally, I want to maintain the shutter speeds at 1/60th to 1/100th, and if I was shooting something much faster like the drummer or guitarist or something with a lot of motion, right, I would go to shutter speeds 1/200th or faster if necessary. Getting faster shutter speed is more important for me to avoid blur, unintended blur in my shot. I do need sharp images. These are actual musicians, they are not photographers who will think, oh, blur is art. They wouldn't understand that. They will need photographs that look dynamic, sharp, vibrant, something that can sell. Now, of course, shutter speed matters. Fast shutter speed is needed. I need to achieve sufficient shutter speed. So I will not hesitate to go really high ISO to achieve that. Some people will say, oh no, but what happens if my images are too noisy? Micro Four Thirds cameras have very tiny image sensor, and because of that you need full frame. Only full frame can handle this situation. Micro Four Thirds is useless. Screw them! Seriously, Micro Four Thirds is more than sufficient to handle this situation, and in a lot of images that I've shown you earlier, they were all taken at ISO 6400 or higher. A lot of them were at ISO 12800. I have no issue whatsoever. I hope we've established that moments matter more than high ISO noise. You should prioritize getting the decisive moment. That should be your main focus when you're doing professional photography, and not to worry too much on how high ISO noise will affect your images. Moments sell the images. It is what makes or breaks the shot. Now, having said that, I do care about noise, right? Everyone does. And yes, noise is present in all the images that is shown in this video because they were shot at very high ISO numbers. There's no denying it. But ask yourself this, are the noise that's present in the images, were they really that destructive? Were they annoying or intrusive in any way? If you don't pixel peep, if you don't view the images 100% or 200% magnification, if you look at the images as is, I don't think it is that bad. I think the images look perfectly fine. Yes, I can see a little bit of grain there and here, but they don't take away anything meaningful from the image. The sharpness, the details, the contrast, the colors, they're all still fully intact. Now that's the most important thing. The noise didn't destroy the images. And the purpose of this particular shoot was to make images that will be used in social media. Maybe some small prints in the future, nothing too crazy. With this intended use, with its parameters, I don't see how this camera cannot fulfill its purposes. When you're shown in social media like Instagram, Facebook, the images are already downsized and compressed anyway. That further reduces the visible noise that is already present in the image. So noise should not be a problem even if you go very high ISO with Micro Four Thirds camera. I've done this several times before in the past, and shooting in very dim theater, shooting in very low light environment, even in a cinema. Yes, the Olympus OMD system coupled with prime lenses, the f1.8 and f1.2 lenses, can deliver fantastic images. I think that if you are shooting with a Micro Four Thirds system as your main camera, don't worry too much, don't listen too much of what people tell you, go out and shoot. You have to shoot first to experience it and really look at the images and see how bad it is. Trust me, in a lot of my experience, it is not that bad, and I'm happy with the images, and most importantly, Bichu and her band members, they are all happy with the images that I've sent them as they've been using it for their social media. That's all I have to share about this particular shoot, doing behind the scenes images for Bichu recording her live music in a studio. I hope I've successfully convinced you that the Olympus OMD system is not a bad choice for extreme low light situation. Yes, it may not be the best out there, but it can still get the job done. Now, if you have any other tips to share dealing with low light shooting, please leave them in the comments below. I would love to hear from you. Or if you have any other experience dealing with extreme low light, I would love to hear about them as well. Now, if you like this video, please consider buying me a cup of coffee, or you can contribute directly to my PayPal account. I'll put the links in the description below. Any small contribution can go a long way and definitely help me to continue making videos like this and publish them right here. Please give me a thumbs up and also subscribe to this channel, and I'll definitely see you again in the next one. Until then, stay safe, take care, and don't be afraid of low light environment. Just push the high ISO. Your Olympus OMD camera can handle it. Bye bye.